we should have got a form now.
All right, go ahead and get started with the March meeting of the Bryant Water and Wastewater Committee. First thing on the agenda is the leak adjustments for February.
All the receipts are there and don't have any issues.
Just what you think.
Yeah, I know, right?
Gary Hoffman on Raymar Road, can you double check? It seems like we just did him about 3 or 4 months ago. Now, do we work off a calendar year or 12-month rotation?
Starts over in January.
Okay,
Calendar year, yeah, we work according to our fiscal year.
all right.
We did notice there are, I think, 5
More than,
Five more apartments.
5 more apartments and toilets.
We have started trying to make contact with them to see if they can help that issue.
Say something. Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve them.
Got a motion, second?
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the leak adjustments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed. I'm gonna vote no until the apartment situation gets fixed.
Good luck.
You can vote no from now to.
Well, that's $1,500 that we gave back, and no telling how many, I didn't add up the dollars in water that was wasted.
Last year, I think we calculated it was about 7,000 over the
it's
course
around
of the year.
7,000, well, over 7,000 last year.
There's gotta be something we can do to hold our feet to the fire. As the owner of the building, that's dereliction. There's gotta be something there.
Talk about it.
Okay. It passed, but.
Yep. I've thought about doing that every now and then, just so it wouldn't be anonymous.
I just want to see my name on another line.
All right, next agenda item is approval of minutes from February.
Well, I read through them
Order to
and
me.
I didn't see anything that I thought needed to be changed, so I'll make a motion, we accept them.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the February minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry, aye.
All righty, that passes. Financial report for January.
One, sorry, not all right.
State of the Union, huh?
Yeah, but if you flip to page 6, you can see we're well over 120 days for both water and wastewater. We're gonna stick to that promise that we're not gonna touch our savings unless, we absolutely have to. So we worked out, for wastewater and water equipment and trucks this year, plus the South Plain project and the line that's associated with South Plain. That is private funding, but the way that works is there's a 3-year, once you touch that money, there's a 3-year spend down on it. And we're still obviously in the very, very, very beginning stages of South Plain. So we don't want to touch that money and start the spend down on it now, so the money's being borrowed as general fund to be paid back Q4, because that's when we expect to have a timeline of being able to spend down that 3 years. I just want to give you guys a heads up on
And
that.
there's room for that, there's no issues
No,
with that? Okay.
Past council and all that documentation was done, so. And for those on page 7, the wastewater infrastructure fee currently has just over $1 million in it that'll need to be transferred to the bond and loan fees here at the end of this quarter.
Any other discussion?
Need a motion? Our motion, we accept the financials.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Sanitary sewer collection system.
So staying to our promise that monthly, we're gonna bring you just kind of 30,000 views of the different departments. This will be for the sanitary sewer collection system. You'll notice in the agenda at the projects at the bottom, we kind of put the projects we're working on and plan for this year. This presentation will touch on some of them, so if you have questions now or then, you know, ask. So, yeah, so Leah Circle, which is a project that we've brought to you guys several times that we've been working on. All the necessary approvals to move forward with construction. The project was bid. Diamond Construction is the construction company. Natural Resource Division has approved all the bond documents, so we're good there. If you remember, that's a 1% fee and a 0.75% interest on that. It's not a holdup, but the construction company and Chris Engineering is working with the railroad company about the bore. They're pretty strict about it, so, and we already have the permits just working. Once they come to an agreement, then it's just a matter of getting notice to proceed, and we'll kick off construction on that. Progress or completion for lift station 5 and Force Main. So to remind you guys, that's Hawkins and Weir who's doing the engineering with a sub of RJN who's working on the flow study requirements and modeling for that lift station, and the Force Main that runs from the lift station to the treatment plant. So just last week, they completed 99% of the survey work. We'd call it 100%, but we know after we complete it, they lay it all out. They'll be coming back out to catch what they missed. I think I've told you in the past, we have our own locate techs for our own utilities, so they locate our sewer and water. Of course, it's been installed over lots of time. Not everything is easy to locate. Hawkins and Weir was very, very appreciative and commended our guys on locating it really, really, really well. So, and I'll give kudos to them because some of that stuff is in the middle of the woods, the trees all around it. So they did a great job there.
They get their witching sticks out.
Yeah.
I've been a
I'm not saying
locator.
they don't work, but I'm not trusting them on this.
Yeah. I've been a locator before, and
Yeah.
I know that's very hard to do.
It might witch, it just might not witch what you're looking for. So, Hawkins and Weir is working with ECCI to perform some of the floodplain determination requirements and wetland delineations that may or may not have to happen. That'll help locate where the new lift station is going to be. Again, it's going to be in that acreage of the existing one, but it'll have to shift or move a little bit depending how we lay it out and how the force main connects to it. Have not applied for funding, but we are on the priority list. Once the survey work is done and we get into design, we'll have a better cost estimate, and then we'll go ahead and do the application process. Hawkins Weir does hold monthly meetings with us to update the progress, so we're well informed there. And then, of course, if anything pops up in between those meetings, emails, phone calls. Progress for completion for Spring Hill Gravity. So this was originally, I know we've talked about it a lot, it was originally designed, started in 2017, designed, finished in 2018, and now we're finally getting to it. So we started securing easements. A letter was set out to everybody that we needed easements from. So far, everybody we've talked to has been very easy to work with, which is really nice. There's some questions, obviously, when you're going to be tearing up yard and burying sewer line, but we haven't gone into any no's. It's just been strictly conversation and working towards what that easement is worth, or is there a sewer connection or something like that. To let you know, current appraisals come back at somewhere between $2 and $4 a square foot for an easement. The upper range being property that's worth more money. So that's basically where we're working. If it goes outside that, it comes back for discussion. Where else are we securing those? The funding process is ready to move forward once we secure the easement. So what we need is a clear site certification, which means you have obtained all your easements, so you're good to go with the project for the funding. It does have all its necessary approvals and design, so once we get the easements or the clear site, we plan to start construction at the beginning of 2026.
So that project's 9 years from initiation to completion?
Yeah, and I'm missing a slide. 2017 is when it started, yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So. I don't know what I have slide, but that's okay. South Plain project. So we're still in discussion with the school about acquiring the property over there, which is right next to Sullivan and the high school. There's a little house on the property there that the school owns. Haven't seen any opposition yet. It was supposed to be on the school board stuff for the month of February. Ice and weather and all that stuff, it got pulled. So, but we've been in talks with school staff, Dr. Walters. The school board is aware. They are waiting for an appraisal to be done on their piece of land. We have an appraisal done on our piece of land. So it'll come to mediation more or less. Not,
So that's a land swap, is that right?
that's the intention of the land swap for that. So that's where we're at with that. Once we secure the property, that's when we can really start moving with design work or survey and design work. And that's what I was talking about, that 3-year spend down. I don't want to start any work that's going to cause a 3-year spend down prior to acquiring that. Now keep in mind, we do have the $900,000 in ARPA funds that was approved to kind of bridge that. But without having the secure location we want or we need more or less, we're not going to go out and just start spending money willy-nilly.
Are we gonna see any issues with the feds tightening up how they throw money away?
Not that's to be
Okay.
seen right now. I mean, we've talked to all of our consultants and they don't see something at this point in time to worry about. All right, so that's that as far as the projects. And then if we just go into the general wastewater collection system, this excludes the treatment plant. So, last year the pipe burst, about a mile of sewer line in 2024. We pipe burst, depending on size and location, for right around $75 to $125 a linear foot. Estimates in the past from outsourcing it have come back anywhere from $300 to $380 per linear foot. And I can almost guarantee you if we outsource it, there's almost always a change order, almost always. And that may not be the fault of the construction company, that might be, wasn't built according to the as-built or whatever. So being able to do the majority of that in-house, we're kind of able to work around the change order piece and not get charged the extra labor, the extra material. The estimated savings is about $1.2 million so far. So if you remember back in 2018, 2019, the previous public works director took to council to buy our own pipe bursting equipment, which at that time people thought we were crazy because there's only very few of them in the United States that did it. There's even less municipalities, and so far it's worked out really well for us. And I'll touch base a little bit more on that here in a minute. They're responsible for manhole maintenance, cleaning, cammering inspections, point repairs, grease trap inspections, different types of open cuts. There's a whole host of responsibility that goes with the sewer. It's corrosive. Lines are supposed to last this long. They're supposed to be this deep, and then they're not and don't. So, let's see. Like I just touched base, performing major repairs and replacements in-house saves cost. There are some we do have to outsource. With doing some of the work in-house and saying it's a deep line or something like that, we may have to rent a piece of equipment. Renting a piece of equipment is still cheaper than paying the contractor. And fortunately, we're lucky to have the staff that can run the larger or specialized pieces of equipment that we can rent. So, it's roughly a 10-person crew. They do have open positions, so if anybody's watching this and looking for a job, please apply. But they maintain about 160 miles of gravity sewer line and 30 miles of force main, so give or take a little less than 200 miles. And then there's 42 lift stations that we maintain and about 170 E1s, which is the individual grinder pumps at the house. Now those are slowly falling off the list as the house sells. We don't maintain those anymore. They replaced 6 manholes in 2024. Depending on the size of the manhole, you can see savings of up to about $15,000 doing it in-house. So that's kind of the top savings. And then usually somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 we'll save doing it by ourselves. And again, if you do the work in-house, you kind of have control over your construction timelines and things like that. So we do very much recognize Arkansas has a rainy season and a very unpredictable winter, if you want to call it that. So when we try to bid out projects, no matter if it be sewer, water, stormwater, we try to move that to as dry as the season as possible. But contractors have other jobs and schedules also, so if we got to work around wet weather months, then we will. Let's see. So I got a note in here, it says setting precedent for other municipalities. So like I mentioned before, the pipe, we were one of very few municipalities when we decided to grab it or move forward with it. It was mostly construction companies that work in the sewer business that we were aware of. And then about 2 years ago, Little Rock Water Reclamation made contact with us and said they were looking into doing in-house pipe bursting. They came down and met with us. We went up there and met with them. We kind of collaborated on stuff, and lo and behold, they did start their own pipe bursting division. Now Little Rock Water Reclamation is significantly larger than Bryant. Sewer system, employees, treatment systems, treatment plants. So it was kind of a pat on the back to say, hey, look at these big dogs that, have all these resources are looking at Bryant to improve their system. So that was a lot of fun. And that's about it as far as the wastewater side, or the collection side, not really the wastewater side. Next month, we're gonna do the treatment plant, and then we'll touch more on the lift stations. The reason I don't have more information here on the lift stations is because my wastewater collection guys handle majority of the actual moving of sewer, and then Bryce back there controls the lift stations. So we'll combine the lift stations, their process, and the treatment plant really closer. Questions?
I know we've said it before, but we appreciate y'all taking that stuff in-house, being good stewards of the city's money and stuff, and
Yeah,
taking on the stuff you can in-house to save us money.
There's definitely time for, again, you can't do it all in-house, you just
Yep.
don't have all that resources, but we try to do the majority of it in-house. And then there's times, like when we do the NRD loans, we cannot do the work in-house, even if we have the capability, so it has to be outsourced. So, but that's okay. There's still ways to maximize all those efficiencies also.
Well, we appreciate y'all being aware of that.
Nice. Any questions on that stuff? All right, so that's that one, and like I said, next month we'll do the wastewater treatment plant and focus on the lift stations a little bit more.
Okay. Any public comments? All right, no. Well, let's go into, I guess, no old business, but probably works, the deposit letter.
So we talked about the deposit letter last month, got your recommendation, and then we moved the date up first, and I took it to council. Because of the timeline it's happened on, I think it's fair to extend it to May 1st. I mean, we're gonna be sending them out in the next 2 weeks. So I just wanted to let you know, rather than the April 1st deadline, push that another month, just because it took weeks in between, so, or a week in between to work it all out. So I just want to make sure again, it's objective, it needs to be done, but it's going to be a handful, so I want to do the due diligence and try and do the fair process that we can. So that's that.
Are they going out pretty soon, pretty quickly?
Probably in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely next week.
That's all I have on that, if that's all anybody has.
Okay, so nothing you need from us, just let us
Just
know.
an update, just let you know. You guys had asked for April 1st. I've added time to it. So it's probably fair to push it out. I mean, I don't want to blame them for what I've done. So,
Sounds good.
If I could get somebody to add an item to new business just for discussion, that'd be kind of cool. It'll be about credit card fees, so if somebody would add that for me.
Make a motion, we add discussion about credit card fees to the agenda.
I'll second.
We got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Currently, credit card fees for us are based on, there's 62,500 out of water and 62,500 out of wastewater, so $125,000 a year that the city absorbs in the processing fee, in the processing of the credit card fees. Precedent has been set by about every vendor, retailer that I know that they pass those fees on at this point in time. Any expenditure we have to, and not a revenue to cover it, whatever that percentage may be, as little as it may be, as large as it will drive some sort of rate, right? So there's still a lot of fine details that need to be worked out and a way to do it, but I'm gonna eventually have the discussion with you guys about talking to turning those fees back over to the purchaser or the resident or the account holder rather than the city covering those fees. So I just want to give you a heads up that that's a conversation coming.
3.5%, is that what you're thinking?
3 and 4.
It's 3.4, 3.1%.
Yeah. I've
That's
seen
pretty
that.
standard everywhere now.
Yeah, it's just, I'd love to keep covering it, but it's $125,000. That knocks out one of our short-term projects.
Well, to be honest with you, you're asking, an individual pays with credit cards asking the city to cover their costs, 3%.
And there are ways to pay bank draft, cashier's check, cash, regular check, no charge.
No fees.
Online there's a fee, over the phone there's a fee, so that there's,
I think it's pretty standard now to log that as a convenience fee.
it is.
They pay that convenience fee for being able to put it on their credit card.
I would agree, I just want to try to do the education piece and keep in mind we have a wide variety of financial statuses in the city, so I want to make sure when we move forward with it.
So there's-
Cross our T's and dot our
Is there a fee associated with paying online?
Mhm.
It's $1.25 fee to pay online, but the city's incurring the 3.4% that the credit card companies charges.
The online over the phone, the resident or the account holder pays.
Okay. So for me, when I do mine on my online banking, it sends y'all a check.
Are you going auto draft or you?
ACH.
No. I determine, it's not auto draft, I determine when it goes.
Paying the $1.25.
You're paying the $1.25 and it comes directly into our bank account in 2 to 3 business days.
Okay, but I'm paying that, or,
You're paying the $1.25.
Mhm.
okay.
But the automatic draft is no fee, correct? Or will that be a fee as well?
No, the automatic draft are fees, but if you do it with a bank account, checking account, there's no fees.
Okay.
Just if you use a credit card, there is fees.
Oh, correct, okay.
Yeah, you could set it up
$1.25.
Yes.
based on the account for the credit card.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do,
That's what you're
and
paying,
it's just,
you don't get charged.
it's easy to do it.
I do that on a lot of mine. I set it up with a bank account for not has that fee.
Yes.
It's just if you do it online, with a credit card, or in the office with a credit card, the city gets charged those fees.
We'll have some more information, leading up to this, so we can have some good conversations.
I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, you've got paying options. That's not.
I
That's not
agree. I
unreasonable.
just, before we move down this road, I want to make sure that, we're transparent with it, communicated it, making sure people know they have the options.
How much is a stamp now? 75 cents?
I don't know, I paid the 3% fee.
I mean, they're gonna pay that, they're gonna pay that gas to drive it if they're not gonna
Drive
do
by.
any kind
Yeah,
of
we have a
electronic.
drop-off box
Yeah,
up
there's a
front, our
drop-off
office is
box.
open Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
We have bank drafts you can do in the office for free.
Mhm.
Just fill out the draft information.
Now, we know the post office can have issues at times, but there's a date on the envelope, there's a date on the check, so obviously if it came past, we know that it was late for not the resident's fault, not our, or account holder, not our fault, so.
I think it's pretty standard now, so I don't see an issue with it, so.
I do think when we get ready to tell people what we're gonna do, we need maybe just a special insert to go in the bills for a month.
I still,
Because a lot of people don't even read the newsletter we get, so,
We can make a note on the statement itself.
I wanted to bring it up to you guys, and of course, we'll have the conversation with council also. That's the direction we're kind of
Well, I don't think you'll get any pushback.
No, I
from
don't,
us.
I think that's a great idea myself.
Okay, so that was it on that. Let me read my, update from Miss Mariah. So Saline Regional update, they're still working on getting the easements, they're working on with NRD for water fund, or for funding for the project. They're working with a private bank for fundings also. Design is still going. I do know they're still acquiring easements. I know that because Mariah is on their easement board, so they're still in the process of watching that. So not a huge update, the kind of the typical stuff you'll hear for a while. But design is happening, easements have to be acquired, and funding is an endless conversation in any project. So,
Well, I will say, I was at the last meeting, and I hadn't been for probably 3 or 4 months, and so I can see progress going each time, which is a good thing. It's
there
exciting.
is, and they've developed, like I said, they developed a little committee who's going to get the easements, and they're working within the guidelines that the board has set as far as dollar amounts and appraisals and things like that. So it's going well. They're working on the first 50 right now. They did get 2 out of Hot Spring County, which I think she mentioned last time, if it's been that long. Feels like it's already 2026 at this point, so, so, yeah, they're moving along. It's a huge project, it's gonna take
Yep.
time. It's an enormous project. So, there's definitely no lack of effort on anybody's part there. South Plain update, like I said, still working to acquire the school, or acquire the property, not the school. And that's kind of where we're at right now. $900,000 out of the ARPA fund for moving forward. Once that's ate up, then we'll start dipping into the bond for it. So, but I don't want to touch the 3-year spend down. I don't want to start the 3-year spend down before we have to, which would essentially be quarter 3, quarter 4 this year. The Station 5 update, same thing. Hawkins and Weir is working on it with ECCI and RJN. Highway 5 relocation update.
Yeah,
So it's actually going well in the beginning stages, for sure. So had a meeting with Entergy to talk about essentially sharing easements and this and that, because if we don't, Entergy gets an easement, we get an easement, somewhere where these yards are, could be 45 feet up in the yard. You'll be outside their front door at the end of your easement. Now you can push the line over to the far side, but, so we're not, it's not even it's still gotta go to attorneys to discuss, can we share an easement, who takes responsibility, is there general liability insurance, because we don't want general liability. So it's an option that's just being researched right now. It may just completely fall apart, but trying to not encroach so far on people's thing. Also, if you come through and I'm a homeowner, I'd rather sign one easement than 3 different easements. So, conversation went well, and I hesitate to say this because we do not have a final answer. But Jennifer Williams with Garnett Engineering, Garnett's doing our design work. They put together all the documentation for the reimbursable rate through the state, the stuff we have to move, like I said, depending if it was in their right of way or our right of way. There's a 6-inch line that was the state line that was given to the city. Well, I don't know how many hours she put into it, but she found all this documentation from University of Arkansas, and they sent it to her, and she went through it, and she submitted it, and verbally, not officially, Jennifer submitted an 84.5% reimbursable rate, and verbally in the meeting we had the other day between McClellan and the folks at Arkansas Department of Transportation, they said, after reviewing it, it looks like 84.5% is a reasonable reimbursement rate for us, which means as expensive as the project is, if it goes the way the current numbers we have, again, things are changing in the economy, we would be at the end out of pocket about $400,000 to $600,000 rather than several $1 million. That 6-inch line is 30% of that project. So the fact she was able to convince them based off of research and extra effort, it's a huge dollar savings to the city. It was immense for us. So hopefully we'll get the official paperwork rather soon, but that was the word we were given during that. So that's a big deal, a huge deal.
And the benefit is you get to update your sewer and water lines too?
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
One of the ways we're looking at is rather than running one line on the side and maybe having a couple of times where it crosses over, running 2 lines on the side. That way we don't have any service lines running under the highway.
Yeah.
So, and right now that looks very plausible. So, that's it about Highway 5. Any questions about that one? Again, that's.
I know y'all were worried about that. It's good news.
Yeah, they did send an appraiser out probably 45 to 60 days ago about the land they need to acquire that our Highway 5 water tank is on. We haven't heard back from them. What they do need to acquire doesn't encroach on our easement, doesn't encroach on the bowl, doesn't. The only thing was our overflow flows out to Highway 5 into the ditch now. And their plan is to basically put all that drainage underground. So we told him that we need you to bring it up that that overflow needs to be incorporated into the stormwater system. Otherwise it's gonna go, something terrible happens, it's gonna go straight over the highway. So catch that on the front. And
Back to the easement issue, if we are able to work with them and do it all in one, will we be responsible for any of the cost of the easement as well?
that's kind of part of the conversation.
Okay.
There's, common sense tells you don't go and pay for the same easement twice.
Right, well, that's
Right.
true.
Pay for it once. So if it's acquired once and we share portions of it, there should be a split cost somewhere in there where we
Okay.
would save some money. Also typically, not typically, sometimes when the power company acquires an easement, they come through and they clear and grub everything. And they'll do it in their aerial easement also. We would be in that easement. So there's potentially a cost savings there too, because we wouldn't have to come through and clear and grub. Now that expense isn't huge because they just come through with mulchers and know everything over. But dollar savings is dollar savings. Cool.
Just don't be surprised if they set an anchor and hit that main, they're like, well,
So, well, when we met with them the other day, we sent them plans we currently have, and they said, we will meet with them individually several times to make sure their anchors aren't in. And if we have to go under an anchor, they will make sure that it's spanned out enough that we can dig under and not hit it with a piece of equipment or anything like that, so.
That's good.
The relationship seems to be pretty efficient and proactive, so. I don't think they want us hitting their guy wires or their poles anymore. We want them hitting our stuff, so. Via Circle, again, moving forward, waiting for a notice to proceed in Union Pacific and Diamond Construction and Chris Engineer to work out that last tidbit, and then we're good to go on that one, so. And the Spring Hill update, same thing. Currently, acquiring easements for the clear site certificate and then off and running for that one too. I think that's all I got unless anyone's got anything for me.
I had a citizen approach me in the store, knew I was on the committee, and they had a question about the tampering. They were saying that supposed to write a ticket and they fight the ticket, or there was something in the legal process. And I just wanted to bring that up, and I know before we did that, we ran it through lawyers and everything, but.
Yeah, so the way it would work, that's the very last step in the tampering. There's the ticket and the fine, but that's issued by the police department and that becomes legal, it doesn't. So,
They were saying something about.
you cannot tamper. You can
Mhm.
tamper and pay $100 extra, you can tamper and pay $500 extra, or you can tamper and pay $1,000 or whatever comes out of the legal part of it. So, but that's the process.
I think they were saying something about they were at that second or third step. And why are you at that second or third step?
I think I know who you're talking about, and that is in Ashley's court right now.
Okay, I kind of figured that. Just wanted to bring it up.
So if it's the one on just assuming what it sounds right there. So.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm good if you guys are good.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye.